to another edition of the Student Fire Podcast, live from the Speak Fire studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm a motivational speaker for schools, and I'm here to help you live your best life today. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Student Fire, live from the Speak Fire studio. I'm your host, Bobby Berg, and y'all, we have a super special treat. So like I've been telling a lot of you, January's been a month of rebuilding. Not to go all hashtag New Year, New Me on you, but I've been writing a book, and I said, listen, I'm going to go a little radio silent on my, for those of you that are following me on social media, you noticed my Instagram has been very bare. My TikTok has been, I don't think I've posted in a couple days. Facebook, I'm hardly on it. Why? Because I've been taking a step back so I can take a bunch of steps forward. I said, I want to finish my book in 30 days because Aisha Thomas over on Internal Fire, we had a meeting and she goes, listen, I think you can do this. Because she said, I want to finish my book in 30 days. And I said, well, if Aisha's doing this, I need to do it too. So I've been taking a step back. But what I also said, and I've been saying for the past couple of weeks on the episodes of Student Fire, is I'm going to have guests. Guests are the greatest way to get real life in the dirt content to all of you. I'm going to have my buddy Stephanie, who's an elementary middle school teacher. I'm going to have her on here. I have a bunch of other people lined up. So if you want to be on Student Fire, please, by all means, slide my DMs. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to record with you. So today we got my buddy Nick here, and dude, I'm not even gonna pipe this guy up. Nick, tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Go for it.
What's going on, Bobby? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, really excited to be here. My name is Nicholas Garcia, also known on Instagram as @NickTheMillennial. I'm super excited to be here with Bobby. We got a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah, we do.
There's so much catching up to do.
Dude,
so me and Bobby, we met. Oh, go ahead, dude.
No, man, go for it. It's all you.
I was going to say, me and Bobby met at the Eric Thomas conference back in Philly, the Verified conference, and it was just a blast, dude. And Bobby's energy has literally stayed the same from the last frame of my mind of when I met him to when we just picked up on the phone right now. It's like time has not even gone past by. So I'm really excited to be here. I see that he's put out a bunch of cool content. He's touring different schools. It's going to be amazing, dude.
Yeah, man. So something I want to say to everyone that's just listened to that, I want you to take this into account. You notice whenever I start saying, if you're going to a school or if you're going on a college visit or if you're, for you athletes, say you're doing a dual meet or you're doing you're at another school for something, go ahead and talk to people. Go say hi. Go network a little bit because you literally never know who's going to be in front of you. You never know who you're talking to. And most importantly, you never know if that person is going to have an impact on your life ever. There's no way you could tell that. And I'm weird. When I first get into a new group of people, especially like conferences, I'm super duper shy for like the first 5 minutes. The second someone opens their mouth to talk to me, you will not get me to shut up. And it's the worst thing. But, if you look like here, man, we hit it off immediately because I just said, well, I'm at this conference by myself. Might as well pick a seat, sat down. And what do a lot of people do? Like you kids that get to your new classrooms, what do? You sit down, you get to class, and you don't know anyone, or maybe you do, but you're sitting at a table that's not with all your buddies, and you automatically pull out your phone, you pull out your book, you start fiddling with stuff. Look up for like 2 seconds and say hi and introduce yourself to the people next to you. Not only is that super polite, but also you could make a really awesome friend right there, right? Look at this. I looked to my right and said, hey man, what's going on? And boom, here we are. So Nick, I got a question for you. Where'd you grow up when you were younger? Give me a little bit of your backstory.
Oh yeah. And so I'm 24. I'm a millennial, obviously. Right now I'm living in kind of the outskirts of Los Angeles, but growing up, I grew up in San Bernardino, California, and I didn't know it at the time, but I grew up in one of the I think it was listed on some news article I saw within the past couple of years, but it's one of the poorest cities in the nation, Bobby.
Whew.
So San Bernardino, California, wow. I mean, you got poor people living on the streets, right? And you got, this environment that just does not promote people, entrepreneurship, just really getting out there and going to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Some of the people that I grew up with, they were very limited in the way they thought and the way they saw life. So, I mean, what I mean by that is, like, just to be completely transparent, some of my family, just being completely transparent, they got jobs at Home Depot or 9-to-5 work at laborious jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's the type of environment that I grew up with. I mean, my dad was a custodian. My mom was, she folded clothes at Kohl's.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 4 sisters, 2 older sisters and 2 younger sisters. So for me, I kind of fell in line with the idea of, this is how it was kind of supposed to be. And, growing up in San Bernardino, you get surrounded by people who are, for lack of a better word, they really think in the moment. They're really in the type of moment thinkers. So that means that if you're rolling with the wrong crowd, you could easily get caught up with the wrong people, and they might say, "Yo, Nick, you're gonna get into a fight after school today." Right? Like that. This is the type of school we're talking about. So tough environment, man. And one of the only pieces of advice that I've ever gotten, all growing up throughout childhood, was from my mom, actually. And she always said, reach for the stars, and if you're lucky, you'll end up at the moon. And so she always told me to, do well in school, and she wanted me to be a doctor. So for me, I felt like that was the only way that there was to get out of this city, this type of environment, is just to do good in school. And so that's what I did. And starting in elementary school, in kindergarten, they were going to hold me back a grade. The teacher, Miss Davidson at the time, she pulled in my mom. My mom's name is Gina. And she said, "Hey, Gina, we're going to need to hold your son back a grade." And she's like, "What? Why?" She's like, "Because the only letter that he knows is O. And he's supposed to know the whole entire alphabet." And so my mom looked at me, and she gave me this look, at this kind of stare. And I knew that from that day on, that we were going into winter break at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It was not going to be no winter break for me.
No, man, you
because
got
she
that
had
look.
me in boot camp. She got me, Bobby. She got me in that boot camp.
Right?
I remember she pulled out a bunch of books, like Go Dog Go, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Bobby, I memorized those books.
Yeah, because you gonna learn today.
Mm-hmm. That's how much she instilled it in me, And so when I came back from that day or the next semester of kindergarten, oh my gosh, it was like a night and day, Yeah. The teacher, Miss Davidson, was like, "Wow, this guy can, he can count all the way up to 100. He can, write his name out, ABCs. He could do a little bit of math. Like, it's like this kid was just completely transformed, And it's like my mom, she put me on this fast track, right? And I feel like that, ever since that time in my life, I've always been on that fast track. And so going through elementary school, just kind of keeping in mind the advice that she told me, even at a young age, I'd always try to get try to do my math multiplication the fastest. We had like whoever could do 100 multiplication problems the fastest gets like this trophy. And I remember in my classroom, I did like the fastest time, most correct, and it was like 57 seconds or something like that. And man, I just kept on, just try to keep on going, you know? And, but I mean, every time I had an issue with school or something didn't seem right, I could just always go to my mom, right? But then one day in middle school, I'll never forget, I was learning algebra. I'll never forget this day because we were learning about y equals mx plus b, right? Slope of lines. And algebra, there's this, when you have a y equals mx plus b or y equals, 5x plus 6, that's a straight line. And you can actually plot it on a graph. Well, I didn't know how to do that at that time. And I went over to my mom and I asked her, I was like, Mom, like, I don't really understand this. This is about 7th grade. And she was like, well, what is it? And I told her, and she looked at it. I was like, well, what is X? Like, what is Y? I don't understand this. And she's like, oh, I don't get it either. She's like, maybe you can ask the teacher, or I don't know, read the book again. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't understand this? Like, this is only 7th grade. And she's like, no, like, I don't understand that. Like, math wasn't my thing. And so I was completely devastated. I'm like, well, this is only 7th grade. You're a grown woman. I'm just trying to understand, like, the kind of structure here. I'm like, shouldn't you understand this? Like, you went through high school too. And she's like, nope, can't help you. So that day, Bobby, that night, I went back to my room and I read my Algebra 1 book. And I was trying to reread the lesson before because it was explaining how it worked. And I just didn't understand it. And then at that point, I was like, wow, like, you depended on your mom for all these answers growing up. And now when it comes time to Algebra 1, something that she can't help you with, you're on your own. And so I was looking at that problem. So I must have stared at that problem for probably 3 hours, Bobby.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to lie. At some point in that 3 hours, I just started crying because I was like, I can't do this. Like, there's just no way. It's like, I've read it. I don't understand how it works. And it was at that point in time, I remember on my cracked little iPod Touch, I looked up like motivation, right? Mm-hmm. And then bam, on YouTube, there's the Secrets to Success by Eric Thomas that comes up. And I was like, what the heck? That was my first introduction to Eric Thomas.
Wow.
And after that, after watching that video, Bobby, not only, forget the homework. The next day I went in, I got there early.
Yeah.
I got there early. School started at like 8 o'clock. I got there like at 6:40. I went straight to the teacher. I was like, hey, I didn't do my homework because I didn't understand it. And I put on in front of her desk. And I was like, can you help me with this? And she's like, Nick, we went over this in class. Like, you didn't understand it then? And I was like, no, I didn't understand it. But I was trying to do it by myself at home. It didn't make sense to me. Can you just show me right now? And she's like, yeah. And so I watched her like, how can I say this? I watched her like a little kid watching Paw Patrol. I was just completely like into it. Mm-hmm. I was not looking left. I was not looking right. I was looking directly at the problem, the thought process. I wanted to see how her fingers held the marker. And I was just, okay, so how did you know to put that right there? Oh, you're plugging in 5, 6. How do you know when to make it a dashed line and when to make it a solid line? So I just kept on asking questions, And then at that point, I was like, oh, okay, it ain't that bad, And that was the turning point for me in my academic career because now I knew how to ask other people for help when I didn't understand something.
That's all I got for you. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Y'all, I hope this was helpful. If it was, hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook. Let me know what you thought. Better yet, hop in the reviews on the podcast you're listening to this on and leave a review there. I check all of them, and I will respond to everything that I can. Y'all, I love hearing from you. It's the highlight of my day. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope you are rocking everything that you do. I hope nothing's getting in your way, and for whatever does get in your way, I know you're going to find a way to overcome it like you always do. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace! That was another awesome episode of the Student Fire podcast. Thank y'all for sticking around for this long, but I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? See, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show to apps? Like, do I have to do it individually, or can I just have one place that does everything for me? And most importantly, how do I make money from my podcast? Is that even an option? Well, honestly, y'all, your answer is Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors that want to advertise on your podcast. Yes, you. That means you can get paid to make the podcast. You can get paid to podcast the right way. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. If you want to get in on this, if you want to make your podcast a reality and you want your success and your word to be a thing, man, you already know. Hop over to Anchor and give it a start. You won't regret it. Catch y'all in the next episode. Peace. We are Speak Fire. Who are we? We are a collective of inspirational, motivational, life-guiding speakers here to help you make your best life available and real today. For everyone that's looking for anything and everything leadership, you have to check out my guy, Michael Gingras, over at Leadership Fire. For my youth that are coming up, for those of you that have questions that need answers, go hit up Sean B. He's the host of Young Fire, killing the game every single Monday. For those of you that have questions that go a little deeper, for those of you that need that internal fire inside of you, not just sparked, but you need those flames fanned, go check out Aisha Thomas with Internal Fire. For my fathers, y'all, you are the real MVP. Go check out my guy Jody Cedric, the host of Father's Fire. For my champions, for my people that need to be the champion of not only their day, but their entire life, man, you'll gotta check out my man Neil Legend over at Champion Fire. For my students, doesn't matter if we're talking elementary, middle school, high school, college, my graduate students, all of you, for everything student empowerment, student leadership, and student productivity, tune in to Student Fire with me, your host, Bobby Bird. We are Speak Fire, live every Monday morning, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You gonna wake up with us? Let's get it.
I am excited to bring you my new book, Trendsetter, 7 Steps to Radically Stand Out to Be the Best You. This book details my journey of coming to the United States and being excited to embrace the American culture. But unfortunately, my culture was not accepted, and I found myself being bullied as a young girl. And in this process, I decided that I wanted to disconnect from my culture to be more accepted into American culture. And through that process, I got so depressed from trying to fit in that I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. So this book talks about the journey of what I did to become radically transformed to be the strong woman I am today. This book is something that's really going to enable the reader to understand and embrace who they are, embrace what makes them special, and become radically transformed. Get your copy today at becomingatrendsetter.com. Again, that is becomingatrendsetter.com, or check it out at my website at aishathomas.org.